For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. Because kings, queens, royalty, powerful people tend not to die like ordinary folk. Not for them the peaceful death in bed, surrounded by loved ones. Oh no! They've got to go out in the most over-the-top way possible. They've got to go out in a blaze of glory. They've got to die in the most dramatic fashion possible. Take Julius Caesar. Stabbed in a conspiracy by the Senate of Rome multiple times. There was that emperor who had gold poured down his throat. Very few of the Roman emperors died peacefully. A lot of them were murdered. Was it Caligula? No, it was Caracalla, who died whilst having a piss by the side of the road. Edward II, King of England. Red hot poker up the bum. Again, murder. Must have been nice for about 2 seconds, and then which George was it that died on the loo? George II died on the bog. Henry I gorged himself to death on eels, lampreys. We will come back to the lampreys another time. Because, lampreys, oh, they play into the death of kings quite a fair bit. And by a fair bit I mean twice. Which is very conspiratorial if you ask me. But what about Mary, Queen of Scots? We all know she was executed on the orders of her cousin, Elizabeth I. But her death was as dramatic as her life. Because if any queen could be called a drama queen, it was Mary, Queen of Scots. Her father was James V of Scotland, who 6 days after Mary was born, died of a sudden and brief illness. Although certain sources you'll read will say that he died of a broken heart after losing the Battle of Solway against the English. Probably not true. At 5 years old, Mary was sent to France to marry the Dauphin, Francis, and she was accompanied by 5 companions, all of them called Mary. Bonjour, où est le mari? Mary? Oui, oui. Mary? Oh, où est Mary le princesse? Mary? Mary, la princesse, no, oui. Où est Mary la princesse? Anyway, she spends most of her childhood in France. She eventually marries Francis, who becomes King Francis II of France. She becomes Queen of France. And then Francis dies of an ear infection and she goes back to Scotland. And of course, in Scotland, her life gets super dramatic. It's why there's been so many films made about Mary, Queen of Scots, because it's one of the most dramatic reigns in British history. I struggle to think of, well, maybe Henry VIII was a bit dramatic, but it was much calmer, actually, than Mary's reign. Mary's reign was very soap opera, to use a cliche. I mean, I know it's Henry VIII, and saying his reign was calm is like saying the sea is...
Your wish is my command. What do you get when you put a vest on an alligator? An investigator.
His reign is as bad as that joke that the Google just interrupted us with. But, to use a cliche, Mary's reign is soap opera. Because she's Catholic, and this is the time of the time of strife between Catholic and Protestant. Scotland is, at this time, a very, very Calvinist, very Protestant society. And Mary, just by being a Catholic, clashes with that Protestantism. But that's not where a lot of the drama occurs, because a lot of the drama occurs because of her marriage to Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley, who was also her cousin. Henry was arrogant, full of himself, vain, and a bit of a drunk. Mary, she had a secretary, David Rizzio, and he became a favourite of hers. He became a close friend. So what does Darnley do? He organises a conspiracy to murder Rizzio. He and a group of men burst into Mary's chambers. Mary is heavily pregnant at this point, and Darnley and his men, fellow lords of Scotland, stab Rizzio 50 times and throw him down a flight of stairs in front of his wife, in front of the Queen, who is pregnant. The lords then flee to England to escape justice, and Mary apparently forgives Lord Darnley, except he then dies in mysterious circumstances, whilst ill with either syphilis or smallpox. His house gets blown up, except he and his servants are found in the garden. No signs of having been killed in the explosion. They are wearing their nightclothes. Darnley has been strangled with his own nightshirt. The servant is dead as well, by the way. With them is a knife, no sign of either of them being stabbed, and a chair. It's been suggested that the chair was used to lower the ill Lord Darnley out of a first floor window. He had like smallpox or syphilis or something, and it was used to lower him out of the window to safety before the murderous conspirators got in. And if you look at this picture, this shows like the scene of the crime. Well, if you ask me, it looks like Darnley and his servant were up to a bit of the old. Mary and her soon-to-be new husband, Lord Bothwell, are implicated in this. Darnley's parents, Mary's parents-in-law, they very quickly latch onto this idea that Mary is responsible, and they go to Mary's cousin Elizabeth I in England, and they say, she did it. It's Mary's fault. She's the murderer. Elizabeth launches an investigation. There is allegedly proof that is found that Mary is guilty, although the evidence we actually have, not conclusive. Still, a lot of people believe that Mary killed her husband, that Mary plotted to murder her husband, possibly as revenge for David Rizzio and so that she could marry Bothwell. But Protestant Scotland, this is basically the straw that breaks the camel's back, because, well, there's a bit of a revolution. And by bit of a revolution, I mean that Mary is forced to abdicate in favour of her son, James, and she has to flee to England, hoping to get help from Elizabeth. Elizabeth doesn't help, She sees Mary as a rival to the throne of England, and there are Catholic forces in England who would rather have Mary on the throne rather than Elizabeth. So Elizabeth, she thinks the safest option is to have Mary put in prison. She has her imprisoned in various stately homes and castles of England, Chatsworth for instance. 20 years Mary is imprisoned. 20 long years. When a little thing called the Babington Plot is uncovered, named after the head conspirator, I'm pretty sure his name was Anthony Babington. But Mary is implicated in this through secret messages, which she has apparently been sending out to her co-conspirators. And the plot: I'm going to get out of here, I'm going to get out of this prison, and I'm going to dethrone Elizabeth. Elizabeth is going to be assassinated, I'm going to be queen. Elizabeth's spy master, Francis Walsingham, gets hold of these letters, he decodes them, the plot is uncovered. That sounds like the police going to arrest Mary, Queen of Scots, who is put on trial. She's found guilty, and she's sentenced to death. But Elizabeth, she differs over this. She differs over executing Mary. She thinks it'll set a bad precedent. And oh boy, does it set a bad precedent. Because for the next 200 years, royals are being executed left, right and centre. Charles I, Mary's grandson, head chopped off. The Duke of Monmouth, Mary's twice great-grandson, illegitimate son of Charles II. He gets his head cut off in a brutal way for trying to overthrow his uncle, the Catholic James II. In France, French Revolution, Marie Antoinette, King Louis, the guillotine, and so to the execution of Mary at Fotheringhay Castle in Northamptonshire. She is led to the block, dressed in the colours of a Catholic martyr. Before she is executed, she prays, she kneels down. The executioner, he lifts up the axe, he swings it down, and he misses. He hits the back of her head instead of her neck. So he tries again, lifts the axe, swings, hits her neck this time, but it's left sort of dangling in a grisly fashion. It's not a clean cut. And all this time, Mary can be heard saying, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God." And it takes a third blow before Mary's head is finally severed from her body. It is a grisly, horrid, nasty death. Allegedly, as well, it takes about 15 minutes before Mary's mouth stops moving. It's not pleasant, but the drama doesn't end there, because as the executioner bends down, lifts up Mary's head to announce that she's dead, he holds her up by the hair, and her head falls to the floor because she's wearing a wig, and the executioner is left just showing this wig crowd to the witnesses. Behold, this is the wig of a traitor? Does the drama end there? No, because what comes out from underneath Mary's skirts? Her little dog, who's been with her the whole time. Allegedly. Allegedly. Does the drama of Mary Queen of Scots' death end there? No, because her cousin, Elizabeth I, who ordered the death in the first place, is outraged. She blames other people. She has the executioner imprisoned for following her orders. She has other people imprisoned for taking the death warrant, and 2 years one guy's imprisoned for. 2 years for executing Mary on the orders of Elizabeth. And if you want even more drama, Mary's death angers Catholic Spain and Philip II of Spain so much that he decides to use it as pretext for invading England with a little thing called the Spanish Armada. But I think we can say with absolute certainty that Mary Queen of Scots died as she lived, as an absolute fucking drama queen.